ask yourself, do I actually want what I say I want? Do I really want to be a millionaire?
I think that one of the reasons why I do that is because I know what it's going to require of us to achieve our objective.
Next Level Nation, welcome back to another very special, as always, episode of Next Level University, where we teach you how to level up your life, your love, your health, and your wealth. We hope you enjoyed our latest episode, number 1013, Be Careful with What Motivates You Today. For episode number 1014, do you actually want what you say you want? Happy Sunday. We hope you are having a wonderful, wonderful weekend. My mouse is jeffing me. Please hold.
Wow.
It's just losing its mind. Okay. Alan and I had a very deep conversation on Monday when we usually record these episodes. And one of the things we talked about is there's a big difference between saying that you want something and understanding what that will take and intending on actually accomplishing it. And Alan and I were going back and forth, and we had a very good rumble. And I remember, Alan, you always used to say, you can't want the result without wanting what comes with the result, or without wanting what it takes to achieve the result. And I always used to say, Alan, a lot of people don't understand what it'll actually take to achieve the result. They want the result, but they don't necessarily have the awareness high enough to say, okay, it's going to take blank, blank, blank. Yeah, I'm in for that journey, or it's going to take this. That's something that's not aligned for me. So I have told you before, if you're a viewer or a listener of this show, that I did a bodybuilding show, and I won my first bodybuilding show, which is, you know, it is what it is. You diet for 3 months and you win a plastic trophy, and that was my experience. I know a lot of people really enjoy that process. I did not, but so I did this first show, and a couple months after the show, one of my buddies, he was like, hey, I want to do a bodybuilding show. We should do one together. We should diet together. We'll do the same one. We'll be in different weight categories, and if we both win, maybe we'll face off in the finals. And I was like, well, that sounds like fun. That's cool. And my coach was like, Kev, you did really, really well in your first show. I mean, considering you've never really properly dieted for a show before and tried to get bigger than you are, it might benefit you to take an off season and come back stronger and do another show. And I thought about it, and I said, you know what? Yeah, I'll do it. I'll sign up for another show. Let's do it. It'll be fun to do it with my friend. That'll be fun. There's a little camaraderie that's attached to that. It'll bring us closer as friends. We'll suffer together. It'll be fun. The problem is nobody really knew how bad I suffered after the first bodybuilding show. So the first bodybuilding show was the first time I'd ever done anything like that. Afterwards, and I told Alan this today, I definitely had some sort of minor eating disorder. So for those of you who don't know, when you do a bodybuilding show and you're focused on getting very, very, very lean, like unhealthily lean, it really messes with your hormones. And when you come off of your diet, your body doesn't know how to tell you when it's full. That's the best way to explain it, is your body does not recognize the fact that it's full, and there's certain hormones that are off, and you just keep eating, basically. So I remember this, Alan. I was working out in Connecticut, and this was probably 2 weeks after my bodybuilding show, and we went out for breakfast, and I ended up I got a tall stack of pancakes. I got an ice cream sundae. It was like 8 a.m, and I'm not even kidding. I got a tall thing of pancakes. I got an ice cream sundae, and I think I got like another breakfast on top of that. And I ate so much that I could not button my pants. I had to unbutton my pants, and I could not button my pants. Went back to the hotel to change for work later, and I couldn't even bend over to tie my shoes. That's like how full I was and how much food I had in my stomach, but I couldn't stop eating. I had like Kit Kat bars and Snicker bars. It was genuinely like this scene out of a movie, like Willy Wonka. I was just hammering food, and I just felt so sick. I felt so bad, but I couldn't stop eating. My hormones were so Jeff that my body wasn't getting the signal that I wasn't full, or that I was full. So I just kept eating and eating and eating. And it went that way for a while. I mean, I went from 150 pounds to 170 pounds in a couple of weeks. I mean, I gained like 15 or 20 pounds in a couple of weeks, which obviously isn't very healthy. So nobody really knew that I was dealing with that. And understandably so. I wasn't very open about it. I wasn't very public about it. So when this opportunity for the second bodybuilding show came up, I didn't do it because I wanted to do it. I didn't do it because I wanted to get the outcome. I did it because I felt pressure from people around me. Not that they were putting pressure on me, but my best friend was going to do it, so it was going to be a fun experience for us to do together, and I didn't want to let him down. My coach wanted me to do it, so I said, you know what, I'll do it. So we're probably, I don't know, a month in, and I was actually dating Taryn at this time. And again, this is probably, I don't know, 5 years ago, 4 years ago, I don't know at this point. And I remember I got a cheat meal. So when you're in a bodybuilding prep, oftentimes if you're on pace for your weight loss and the way your physique is supposed to look, you'll get a cheat meal. And part of my cheat meal was a half a pint of Ben & Jerry's. And I was like, oh, cool. All right. Big fan of Ben & Jerry's. And a couple days later, I still had that pint of Ben & Jerry's in my freezer. And I was laying in bed one night and I was just like, I don't know if I want to do this anymore. This sucks. I don't know if I can do this for another 2 months. I'm miserable. I'm hungry. My relationship is suffering because I can't do anything. We're not going to go out to eat because I can't eat anything. So Taryn would come over and we'd literally just watch movies. That's like all we did. And I was like, that she can't really enjoy that very much. I suck. I feel like I'm letting her down, you know? And then, so I'm laying in bed and I literally was like, yeah, I'm done. I'm not going to do this anymore. I texted my coach. And the reason I texted my coach is so I could just like close the chapter. I texted my coach and said, hey, I'm done. I'm about to eat the rest of my Ben & Jerry's. So I went downstairs. I ate the rest of my Ben & Jerry's. I texted my coach. I texted my buddy and I texted Taryn and I said, hey babe, next time you come over, we're going out for pizza. And she's like, you can't go out for pizza. You have a bodybuilding show. I said, F that. I'm done with this. I'm not doing that anymore. And she's like, no, don't do that because of me. And I said, it's not because of you. It's because I don't want to do it anymore. I said I wanted it, but I actually know what it's going to take for me to get there. I am not willing to suffer like I suffered before. And I ended up not doing it. I told my coach, I told my buddy. My buddy ended up going on and winning his show. And assuming I won my side, we would have ended up probably competing together. But I'm very happy with the decision I made because I think I had the courage to admit, you know what? I don't actually want what I say I wanted. Now, that's also helped me give advice to other people. We had somebody that I was talking to, and this person said, hey, I really, really want to kind of do what you guys are doing. I want to have this giant level of impact. I want to start a podcast. I want to be a speaker. I want to be a coach. And we got that train rolling for this person. And I ended up having a conversation with them one day. And I said, all right, how's everything going? And he said, honestly, I don't know if I really want to do this podcast thing. I don't really know if I want to be a coach. And I said, all right, what's changed? Like, what is popping to the top of your mind that is making you question this? And he said, well, I see the way you and Alan work, and I don't know if I want to do that. Like, I don't know if I want to work all day, every day, you know? And I said, okay, well, what's important to you? And he said, well, family, and I want to make sure that I have freedom in my schedule, but I want to be there for my family every night. I want to be able to walk my kids to the bus in the future. And I said, okay. And we went through these things. And I said, do you believe you can be the Gary V level of you and have the life that is within your core values? And this person said no. And I said, honestly, then why do you want it? And he said, I don't think I actually do want it. I think I wanted to say I want it because I look up to you guys and that's kind of what you guys are doing. And I said, well, it's great that we figured this out now before you burn your life to the ground trying to chase something that you don't actually want. And we checked in with why that was important to this person. So the point of these stories, the overall theme of this, do you actually want what you say you want? How many of your decisions, how many of your goals are you setting, number one, without the understanding and awareness of what it will actually take? Number two, because you feel pressured to set them by somebody else. Or number three, it's somebody else's idea in the first place. If you're not the one who's setting your goals and at least having some understanding of what it will take, then the odds of you accomplishing them are pretty low. And the odds of you being fulfilled and feeling aligned and feeling happy and feeling like you're doing it on purpose, it's probably not going to be very high. So my intention in this episode is really to get you to ask yourself, do I actually want what I say I want? Do I really want to be a millionaire? Right? We've had clients. I had a client one time, Alan, who we doubled her business. In like over the course of a couple months, we doubled her business because she told me, she said, I want to be a millionaire and I want to have houses all over the place. And I said, awesome. Okay, cool. And she ended up eventually getting rid of her business because I don't think that's really what she wanted. I think that's the result that she wanted, but you can't want the result without at least doing the process. You don't have to want the process, but you have to be willing to put in the work in the process, and you have to check to see if you're aware of what that process is.
There's so much to unpack here. This is what I wrote down. There are two sides to every story. There's also two sides to every goal. There's two sides to every goal. And to the original concept of this episode, do you actually want what you say you want? If you don't understand the implications of setting that goal, it's really, really, it can be very detrimental to your self-esteem and your self-respect. So what's a good example of that? So when Kevin and I went on the mics and we said, listen, we're going to lose 10 pounds in 10 weeks and we're going to weigh in at 10 pounds lighter each. So for him, 170, me 180 on August 1st. We've dieted and done bodybuilding shows, and I was a fitness coach, fitness competitor. So was he, fitness model. We knew exactly what that would take. We weren't just saying it and like assuming that we're going to enjoy everything that goes along with that. We set that goal knowing this is going to suck and it's going to be worth it because we are upset with the standard that we've set for ourselves in fitness. And I think that's a really good example where it's like we weren't just saying it to say it. Kev, you remember an early interview you and I had on this podcast, and I'll keep it anonymous, but this person said, yeah, I'm going to gain 25 pounds of muscle in the next year. Mm. And I remember talking to you afterwards. I was like, that person has no idea what they're talking about.
Yeah, for sure.
You can't gain 25 pounds of muscle in a year unless you're on every steroid there is known to man, and even then you can't. And but again, it's an awareness thing, right? And every one of us, including myself, starts out as a beginner where we set goals and have no idea what's required of us. And that's why this is such a detrimental process if we're not careful. You know, at the beginning of any journey, you don't really know what it's going to take. When Kevin and I started this podcast, Kevin said, I want a podcast like Joe Rogan, but he didn't really understand what that was going to require of him. And I wanted to have Tony Robbins level impact, and I didn't fully understand, although I do think I kind of did, what that would require. And so I have another client who said she wanted to be the female Tony Robbins, and I said, that's awesome, that's so good. He's had such a positive impact in the world, regardless of whether you think he's done everything perfectly. He's had such a massive positive impact. And so that's huge. He's helped so many people all over the world, more than maybe anyone, honestly. That said, do you also want to give up every weekend for the next 30 years? Because he does weekend seminars. He does weekend seminars constantly. Do you want to work as hard as Tony has worked? Just like this other person who said they want to be their own unique flavor of Gary Vee. Do they understand like how much Gary has worked? He literally said like, I didn't say anything to the world about business for the first 13 years of my career, and I worked every single day. And he says, I've made up for that 13 years of silence. In other words, he's talking a lot now, right? But he didn't talk until he walked first. And does this person understand that Gary Vee works all day, every day? He's definitely let his fitness go. He's dialed that in lately. I think over the last several years, he's really dialed that in. And then I don't know what his family life is like, but I do know for sure that he's not spending a ton of quality time with his family because most of the time he's on the road and or working. And so all of us this is the really important, real conversation, heart-driven but no BS. It sounds really cool to say I want a net worth of $100 million. I have one client who intends on a net worth of $75 million, but I can also tell that this person understands what that will require of him. That person's in the financial industry and they're already investing for that to happen. And it is totally possible. It's 100% possible, but you have no wiggle room. When you set a goal like that, and you really intend on achieving it, you can't just hang out on the weekends. Like, I get fired up with this episode, Kev, because when I set a goal, I think it through. I don't just say stuff.
What's happening, guys? My name is Alex, and I am a professional videographer who runs a production company out of Halifax, Nova Scotia. The one thing that I love about working with Alan is that right away he was able to come in and set up a system for me that makes sure that I am taking charge of my time and I'm taking the actionable steps that I need in order to progress towards my goals on a day-to-day basis. He's always been great at giving me the information that I need exactly at the right time in order to progress to the next level when it comes to my business. And overall, I think he's just a great personality. When I get off the phone with him, I always find that I am energized. I know exactly where I need to focus my attention in order to progress, and I am getting the most out of what I do with my time.
Whenever I set a goal, like when I set a goal to do my pro card for my bodybuilding, men's physique pro card, I knew that would take years. I knew that, and I was willing to do whatever it took. Kevin and I have been using a hashtag with each other for the last 5 years. Hashtag whatever it takes. And when we say it, we really do mean that. We want to have the most positively impactful, holistic self-improvement podcast in history. And we're saying that not from a place of like, that would be nice. We're saying that from a place of, listen, if we're going to stay in integrity and keep our promise to ourselves, we have to do whatever it takes within integrity, of course, within our character, within our core values, to make that happen. And everything we do and don't do, quite frankly, very directly here, is predicated on that objective. And so I love barbecues. I love drinking and having fun. I love day drinking. I love basketball. I love snowboarding. I love swimming, and I love boats and water. And I say no to those things all the time. All the time. I love spending time with friends. I love it. I love yard games. I love bags and can jam. I love it all, literally. But I say no to those things every weekend. And I think that one of the reasons why I do that is because I know what it's going to require of us to achieve our objective. 2 more quick stories. We're in Colorado, and Kevin and I are learning from an awesome event. And one of our mentors hosted it, and there was great speakers. And it's a very intimate setting, so I think there was probably 25 to 30 people in the room, and it was really nice. I mean, this venue was magnificent. Mountains all around in Colorado, beautiful. Not a single home in that complex that wasn't multi-million. And I pulled Kevin aside during one of the breaks, and I said, we got to take a walk. And I said, Kev, a lot of what we've learned this week is valuable, but we have to be very careful. And he's like, well, what do you mean? I said, no one in this room is optimizing for what we're optimizing for. The people in that room, and I'm not taking this from them, this is totally fine. A lot of people are like this, are trying to earn more money for doing less work. They're trying to work smart, not hard, and essentially. And that's okay. That's fine. They're having their own impact, and they're optimizing for what they want. And I said, Kev, that is not what we're doing. None of these people in this room are trying to change the world. None of the people in this room are trying to bring personal development to the masses. And I can tell because the way they've reverse engineered their life is completely outside of alignment with what we're trying to do, what we intend to do. And so I digress here. There are 2 sides to every story, but there's also 2 sides to every goal. It sounds really cool to say, I want to play in the NFL one day. But it doesn't sound cool to play football every weekend and to travel all over the world and to not see your family for 9 months out of the year or 6 or 7 months out of the year every year. It sounds really cool to say, oh my God, Michael Phelps, one of our close friends had Michael Phelps, comment on one of his things recently about mental health. And I'm grateful Michael Phelps is so open about that. But it's really cool to say Michael Phelps won 27 gold medals. But what isn't really cool is I swam every day for my entire childhood and I didn't get to have any fun. See, we say we want these things, but we do not understand what it takes. And what I've learned through coaching so many people is what you say you want versus the lifestyle you actually want is very rarely the same thing. And so here's what I do with my clients. They say they want X goal. And I say, okay, instead, let's do this. Can we set a goal where the lifestyle you want is actually a byproduct of it? And I'll give one more example and then we got to go here. Let's say you set a goal to run a 5-minute mile. Very, very high goal. Very few humans on this earth can run a 5-minute mile. Here's the cool part about that. If you set that one goal and really work toward it, all of a sudden you're in infinitely better shape. You inspire people all around you. You now work out every day. You are around more athletes and inspirational people. You're now happier, healthier, and more productive and have more energy. You now eat better. You sleep better because you have to. If you're not getting good sleep, you're not going to run a 5-minute mile. And your sex life is better. You most likely have more energy in your relationships and in your life and in your career. You're probably developing more self-discipline. You definitely look better and are going to age less, right? Or age better, I should say. All of those things, every one of those things that I just described is an inevitable byproduct of that one goal. And so when I set a goal, I'm not looking at the actual goal. I'm looking at the lifestyle and the byproduct of that goal. Right? So when we say we want to have the most positively impactful, holistic self-improvement podcast and company in history, what we're really saying is we intend to actually do that, and the lifestyle required of us in order to do that is what we want. And everything that comes with it. And one of the reasons we do life, love, health, and wealth is because Kevin and I decided early on we don't want to be just wealthy. I know a lot of wealthy people who are very unhealthy and who don't have good family lives. And I know a lot of people who have wonderful family lives but are paycheck to paycheck on the struggle bus. And I have empathy for both of those people, but I don't want that for us. And that's why we want to master all three of the areas that we think matter most: life, health, wealth, and love. And that's really what this episode is check in on your goals. Are you saying these things because they're cool to say? And I do realize now, in my 30s, that most people are saying goals because it's kind of cool to say them, rather than like, and Kevin used this as an example, and I'm not picking on anybody, but he said like, yeah, me and my buddies used to say we're going to drive around in Winnebagos and dirt bike and play baseball and with our girlfriends and all that. And you were literally just saying that because it was fun to say.
Yeah, it would have been nice. It would have been cool if it happened. Yeah, 100%.
Right. And I think that check in with it, because you might be saying things that are giving people the wrong impression and or giving yourself the wrong impression, because you might be seen as a hypocrite and all that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, all I really care is what you think about you. This is the question that I wrote down. What do you really want? And what is really going to come with that? Emilia and I sat down and talked about this. We did a vision boarding together, and we decided on all the things that we want to accomplish in our life, including philanthropy, the Next Level Hope Foundation. I mean, 0 to 1 was this past weekend, and we want to do that every year. We want to double our impact every single year. And I took Kevin through the numbers of that. It gets big quick. And it sounds awesome to donate $100 million over our lifetime. It does, and it is awesome, by the way. That's unbelievable. But the work that's going to be required of us, I mean, goodbye every Father's Day for the next 40 years, right? And that's, but I don't set that goal without knowing that. And Emilia and I, when we sat down and vision board and we said, this is what we want to achieve in the world, this is the impact we want to have, we have to sit there and go, okay, we understand what that's going to require of us. We know that we're only going to get quality time, most likely at night, and we're going to work all day, 6 days a week, every week. And we know that we're not going to be able to go away every other weekend. And we know that unless we are very careful, and every single Saturday, I've worked every Saturday for the last 5 years. And so just understand that this isn't about me, this isn't about Emilia, this isn't about Kevin, this is about you and your goals and your dreams. Kevin and I do not want you setting goals that are not congruent with the lifestyle you really want. If you want to change the world, that's awesome. We're with you. Let's do it. But if you also want to spend every weekend on the beach, those two conflict. And I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Those two are in conflict. And there's a way to still have an awesome impact and still go to the beach every weekend, but it's not going to be Gary Vee level. And that is just the reality. Heart-driven, but no BS.
Heart-driven, but no BS. And not everybody is supposed to change the world. Some people are supposed to change their world or their family's world or their partner's world or the town or the state or whatever it may be. So don't feel like you have to set these unreasonably audacious goals just to set those goals. You don't have to. You don't have to, because you might find that chasing that or accomplishing that is not actually what you want. And since we're on the podcast, we can go deeper than just a quote on Instagram that says, you're capable of anything you believe in. So we want to make sure that we're using our experiences and the experiences of those that we have studied to help you avoid any pain that's unnecessary for you. Obviously, there's going to be pain in growth, but we want to make sure we can help you avoid as much as possible. Okay. If you are out there right now and you're saying, yes, I am chasing my own unique version of my dreams, but I don't have a community of like-minded people who are supporting me, please join our private Facebook group, Next Level Nation. The link is in the show notes, totally free, always private, and you can be yourself there. Alan, we have 3 minutes before our next coaching call, so hammer it.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of Next Level Nation, we just put a poll in there. Amy did. Thank you, Amy. Amy D. Now that we have two Amy's on the team, I got to start saying that. Amy Diaz. And the poll has 5 books on it. High Performance Habits by Brendan Burchard. 2 books by Brene Brown. One of them is Daring Greatly. I honestly forget the other one off the top of my head. And then there's Limitless by Jim Quick. And there is one more, Essentialism by Gregory McKeon. So in Book Club, every Saturday, I think last Saturday we had up to 17 people, which was really cool. We are great books with great people. And we're talking privately, behind the scenes, not recorded, not repurposed, about real challenges that you're facing around these topics. These books start up some great growth and some great understandings. You won't get to the next level of your life without a deeper understanding. And if you want better health, you have to understand health. If you want better wealth, you have to understand wealth. You want better love and intimate relationships, you have to understand relationships and communication and trust and intimacy and vulnerability. This book club is about understanding. It's about understanding yourself and understanding the world and how to flourish within it. So join us on Book Club. The registration link will be in the show notes.
Next Level Nation, tomorrow for episode number 1015. Happy Monday tomorrow. What do you do when you feel like you're outgrowing your circle? That is one of the things that we get asked and we see most often is when you're growing, you're not always growing together with the people that you want to. So what happens if that is something you are experiencing? As always, we love you. We appreciate you. Grateful for each and every one of you. And at NLU, we do not have fans. We have family. We will talk to you all tomorrow.
Please reach out.